just share. Okay, let us do our Shanti part first. Om Tvam Hina Pitavaso
Om Tvam Hina Pitavaso
Tvam Mata Shatakrato Babhuvitha
Tvam Mata Shatakrato Babhuvitha
Adhate Sumnami Mahe
Adhate Sumnamimahe.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Okay, so you wanted of just the last few verses, one recap, Anuj.
Ah, yes, Varya.
So we had done from 2 to 5. So this was Yasmin Dyoha Prithvi Chantariksham Motam Manaha Saha Pranashcha Sarvah Tamevakam Janatha Atmanamanya Vacho Vimanchatham Mritasya Vimunchatha Amritasyasha Setu. So basically this says that in that Lord, all the elements of creation are existing, and in that mana and prana have been linked together, because this is actually also a pun on the Jivatma. So Paramatma and Jivatma, their similarities are also being shown over here. Otherwise, for God, there is no need for a mind or for pranas. But here it has been specifically mentioned to draw out the comparison with the other beings. So then this verse is particularly, this shloka is particularly important because it says that you need to think of him only and forget about everything else. He is the one on whom you need to focus, because he is the bridge to immortality, to moksha. So anybody desirous of moksha should forget about all other activities in this world, all other talk, all other gossip, all other anything, and just focus on this one activity, because this itself takes a long time to fructify. Then next one we saw was Ara eva Rathanabha Sanghata Yatra Natyah Sa Esho Antascharate Bahudha Jayamanah Om Ityevam Dhyayat Atmanam Swastivah Paraya Tamasah Parasthat. So then the sage tells us that just as the spokes of a wheel go and connect into the Rathanabhi, that is the hub of the wheel, like that, all the nerves of the brain go and connect into that one single point of consciousness. Again, this is more relevant for the Jivatma rather than for Paramatma. But you must remember that this description officially is for Paramatma, but there is a pun for the Jivatma. Jivatma, there is an undercurrent of an explanation of what the Jivatma is about. Om ityevam dhyayatha. So you must do Upasana with taking this mantra of Om. Do a japa of Om and think of only Om when you are doing Upasana. Meditate upon him. Swasti vaha paraya tamasah parasat. And then the Rishi gives us a blessing that may you go past the ignorance. which exists in you, by which you think of yourself as the body. Then we have a double shloka, you can say. Yah sarvajnah sarvavit yasya mahima bhuvi. This is a description of God continuing. So he says that he is omniscient, omnipresent, and this whole world is a description of his greatness. Divye Brahmapure Hiesha Vyomni Atma Pratishtita. In this, in the Divya Akash, which represents the uh, very small center in our mind where the soul is actually located, in that he is Pratishthit. So again, on the one hand, the sage is saying that God is omnipresent, and immediately in the next line, he says something else. So again, that pun is continuing. So it is the soul which is situated in that very small point in the body where it is linked to the buddhi. But otherwise, and that is where it will see God. When it has managed to focus itself into itself, then only it will see God. Till the time that it is connected to the senses and seeing the world and focusing on that, till then it will not see God at all. Manomayaha prana sharira neta. This again is more of a description of the soul, and it says that the soul is connected to the mind, Manumay, and Prana Sharira Neta. It is also the leader of the prana, that is a life breath, and the body. Pratishtito Anne, Hridayam Sannidhaya. And it is located in this Annamay Sharir. By Anna is not meant food directly, but this gross body. It is situated in that, taking the support of Hridaya. Hridaya, again, don't understand it as heart here. It means the buddhi, which is the subtle part of matter to which the soul is connected. Tad vijnanena paripashyanti dhiraha ananda rupam amritam yad vibhati. By vijnana, that is by viveka, that is by distinguishing itself, the soul, from the body, by that vijnana, the dhiras are able to, the steadfast seers are able to see that ananda rupa, amrita, where it shines. Again, this is applicable both for the soul and for God himself, because even seeing the soul is gives a lot of bliss, and the soul too is ananda rupa to that extent. Also, it is amrita. Then this is the last one is a beautiful one. Vidyate hridaya grantesh chidyante sarva sanchayaha kshiyante chasya karmani tasmin drishte paravare. Tasmin drishte paravare. When we see the that God who is both close and who is far, then all the knots of the heart, which means actually the knots, the knot which links the soul to the buddhi, that is cut, and all doubts are cleared. Shiyante chase karma, and this person's karmas are terminated. That means that person continues to act, but those actions do not have consequences. They are no longer karmas, they are just deeds. They're just actions. They're not, they do not carry a consequence. Okay. Is that clear now? Oh, sorry, there is one more, sorry. Hiranmaye pare koshe virajam brahma nishkalam tad shubram jyotisham jyotis tad yad atma vido viduh. That in this kosha, in this cover which is situated, which is distant, which is located in a kind of a hidden place, and which is golden. In that, this Brahma, which is Virajam, that means without any attachments, and Nishkalam, without any parts. Tat Shubram, which is pure. Jyotisham Jyotihi, which is the light of lights. And whom? The Atma Vida, the ones who know the soul. And here, this Atma refers to both Jivatma and Paramatma again. They know, the ones who know that soul or that Paramatma, they see this Brahma. So last time when I had taught you this verse, this ninth shloka, then I had interpreted it only in terms of the of Brahma. Now I want to tell you that it is also applicable to the soul. That pun which I was telling you continues into this one as well. So can you now guess which are the, in what way are these words applicable for the soul? Hiranmaye pare koshe.
Perhaps here it is referring to the brain or the heart, perhaps Hiranmaya Kosha, one of the two.
Again, it is the buddhi, and it is called Hiranmaya because when you see the soul, that also is full of light. So this golden color is what is supposed to be seen when you see the soul. So Hiranmaya pare koshe. Then Virajam, without attachment, is that applicable?
Only
Yes.
after, only after Mukti.
No,
Yeah, that is. Tell me.
even during the lifetime also, soul is unattached, right?
So this is actually for the soul only. Okay, there is a soul which sees itself through the buddhi. That is the embodied soul. That has attachments. But the soul itself is asanga. As Sankhya, in Sankhya Kapila said, asangoyam purushaha. So the soul is always without any attachment in its pure form. So that is why this Virajam is also applicable. Then Brahma.
This one is difficult. Maybe one way we can see is that this fabric of soul is considered universal rather than any individual thing. So perhaps that's why Brahma is applicable.
Anybody else would like to take this
Brahman
up?
is also the Atma is the part of the Brahman, no?
So there is, I am not teaching Advait here.
So since you asked what is this Brahman, and Hiranmaya, the one Atma which resides within our intelligence, but it is not at all attached, and that gives the stages to our for everything.
Okay, that part is fine. But how can we interpret Brahm as the soul? That is the question here. It is not because of unity between Paramatma and Jivatma. It is not Advaitvad here, but something else.
Soul
I have taught you.
has a control over entire body, and that's why it's the Brahma for the body.
Brahma, we say, no, the Brihat, which is everywhere pervasive. Even in the Akasha or the space also it is pervasive. It is indivisible. So, probably
Don't confuse concepts, Gauri. Either it is pervasive or it is indivisible or what. So I will tell you this Brihat, which you use that word, that is the correct one from which Brahma has come. Not exactly from Brihat, but yeah, there is a similar Brihi Brahmane Dhatu in which Brahma means large, big, or great in some way. So because the soul is so much greater than matter, that is why it is also called Brahma. Brahma, that is the Lord, is called Brahma because he is great literally. But the soul is not Brahm in terms of size. It's only Brahm in terms of its properties. So since its properties are much greater than that of matter, it is sometimes called Brahman.
For
Usually
this
this word
view,
is reserved for Paramatma. That is correct. Yes, tell
in
me.
Sankhya, it has also been referred as Swaswami Bhav, like soul has a ownership
Sorry.
over the body.
Can you speak a little bit louder?
In Sankhya, it is also conveyed as a Swaswami Bhav, right? Ownership of the body that the soul has.
That is there. That is there. But that is not being conveyed by this word called Brahma. Brahma does not mean ownership or control over something. That is Isha. So when we say Ishwara, then we are talking of something which has ownership, lordship over something else. Okay.
Okay.
Then Nishkalam, without parts. Is that clear for the soul?
Oh, parts is there for Sharira, not for soul, I guess. That's what is meant.
So how do you perceive the soul, Anuj? What for you is the size of the soul?
I don't particularly, of course, though it is described as some hypothalamus, some small portion, etc. Angushta matram in another place. But for me, because we access it through the brain, we tend to think somewhere residing. For me, it may be, the feeling is that it pervades throughout the body. When we sense it through access it through our buddhi, try to access it through our buddhi link. So I don't want to ascribe a particular size to it.
So that Angushta Matra which you are speaking about is again the residence of the soul, the place where it resides. That is that hypothalamus, etc., which I have postulated. It I may be wrong there. So that connection with the buddhi is that Angushta Matra which is spoken about. Otherwise, size is something which is really speaking true for material objects, and the soul is immaterial also. If we had to really pinpoint, it is a point size object. Basically it is dimensionless. So it is a dimensionless entity which is the soul. It has neither length, width nor height. It is a mere dot.
Yeah. So either 0 or infinity fits the bill.
Infinity for God, but not for the soul.
Okay.
Soul is not infinite, while God is the one who is infinite, who pervades the whole universe and is even beyond that. But the soul is very, very small in its size, if I can call it size, and therefore its knowledge is also that much because it is limited in dimension. Then Shubram, this pure is again related to that Virajam, which we just discussed, that the soul is without attachment and actually is never touched by anything else. It is always pure. Jyotisham Jyotish. So this, can anybody guess why it should be called the light of lights?
I guess it is the prime motive to the life force, jiva energies, pranas, that it's behind all that. So maybe that's.
Anybody else
It empowers intellect with buddhi.
Yes, both of you are close. But here basically Jyoti means the intellect, the buddhi, man, and the senses. So because they are the ones which are intelligent. So that is why they are called Jyoti, because they collect information. They are involved in knowledge, information processing or knowledge processing. That is why they are called Jyoti. And this, the soul, is the one which actually puts life in them. Without the soul, they will not have performed their function. They will not exist. So therefore, it is called the light of lights. So in this way, this verse also applies to the soul, while being applicable for God as well. So here you can see in these last few verses, we are seeing the parallel which is there between the individual soul and between God. There are few differences which exist between Paramatma and Jivatma, and they are the ones which make all the difference. The biggest one being that God is omnipresent, omniscient. And what is the other third one? Omni something. I will come to it.
Omnipotent. Omnipotent.
Omnipotent. Yes, yes. Thank you.
Omnipotent, present, omnipresent.
So these are the three things which the soul does not possess at all. So whenever you read something like Sarvajna and Sarvavit, then you know that this is talking about God. Unless that Sarva is really talking of limited knowledge, but in a hyperbole kind of a way, it is still saying Sarva. But in most cases, Sarvajna, Sarvavet, all these adjectives will be for God alone and not for the soul. And that is why, because we find these adjectives at certain places in these shlokas, we know that these are primarily meant for God, and those are the adjectives which we cannot apply to the soul. However, the remaining adjectives, some of them actually do not apply too much to God, like manaha sa prana. That is not very applicable for God, because he has nothing to do with the mind and the pranas directly. Okay, any question is there?
Uttara.
Yes. Okay, Raunak, go first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jyotisham Jyoti, just a related question, not exactly related to Mundakopanishad, but just it arises from this phrase Jyotisham Jyoti. In today's modern context, also, most of the time it is said that the brain has an emerging consciousness property, and when we say that the soul is actually, which is kind of giving it a power. So how we can distinguish it from that? Why we cannot conclude that the brain itself is giving emergence to consciousness?
Why the brain itself is not conscious?
Yeah, why brain itself? No, why? See, modern perspective, often scientists say that the brain itself is giving emergence to consciousness. It's a,
Yes.
like जैसे
Yes.
हम न्याय में भी आता है संघात है. It's a,
Yeah.
so I don't know what is to be said to संघात, but it's a property emerging out of brain and various body functions.
Yeah.
So here we are saying it is an external property. So just wanted to understand why soul has to be an external property instead of sanghat.
So one of the ways in which we can see that it is external is that when the soul departs from the body, you have everything sitting over there. The brain is there, the body is there, the heart is there, everything is available. You can get the heart pumping by applying currents appropriately. So blood flow you can restore, which you can say, okay, the heart collapsed and therefore the blood flow stopped to the brain, and so the brain stopped functioning. Suppose we are able to restore the heart pumping. Why does still the brain not come up? Why does consciousness still not come? So that is when you know that there is something which is different, which is sitting over there, which when it departs, then everything in that body is all consciousness, all life it departs, and you cannot bring that body back to life. So this is the thing which the scientists keep grappling with, because it's very easy to say that this consciousness emerges in the brain, but even the unicellular organisms like algae and amoeba and paramecium, they all have a sense of self, and they know that this is me and this is the environment, which is basically a consciousness. When you are able to distinguish yourself from the environment and say, okay, this body up to here is me, and everything outside is something else. So that that awareness exists in the smallest of creatures and the largest of creatures. When these animals don't even have a brain, they have this consciousness of themselves. So that indicates that there is something else which is able to carry this intelligence, and that the spiritual people are able to handle it by saying that there is a soul, while the scientists don't really know what to do with it and where to define it. Because if you limit it to the brain, then you just can't then ascribe it to brainless creatures, and there are many brainless creatures.
And this
Yeah.
this debate comes also very often now in this AI consciousness, emergence of consciousness and AI debate also, I guess, that maybe someday AI will, the emergence of consciousness will come into play there
Yeah, so
too.
you will see yourself that this what is called volition, the desire to do something. You might program some desire into desire, quote unquote, into the algorithm to create a desire. But internally, to really have a desire for something, a desire to eat, a desire to learn, a desire to go for a walk in the fresh air, such kind of things, they cannot be programmed. And that is where you can distinguish AI from this, because we have started living in a very, very artificial, virtual world. That is why for us, anything on the computer uh, is that is the world. And so if it is there, then it could be an artificial intelligence as well. And it is complete in itself. But what we understand as a being can never be there in AI. Because beings are not restricted to, say, wanting to do stock trading, which maybe an AI program could do. And you could say it wants to do that stock trading. But that is not what beings are restricted to. And that is why beings will always be different. You can yourself think of the many ways in which beings function, think, and desire. The desire, that volition which is there, which I say, no, I want to get up now, I don't want to be part of this class. This desire cannot exist in an AI program. You can build something and say that I built this desire, but it will not be a natural thing. Okay, Kala, you had some question?
Good afternoon, Uttara.
Good afternoon, Kala. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining the class.
No. I couldn't go through the video fully last class, but your recap now helped. But I still have two questions. One is in verse 8, you said when the separateness of the self becomes clear, the soul stops doing things for the benefit of the body. Did it do that?
Sorry,
No.
so what?
No. I thought the body acts by itself with the mind and the buddhi, right? And then realizes the soul. So when we say the soul stops doing things for the benefit of the body, I was not clear. This is in verse 8.
Yeah. So that means that while the soul will feed the body, will ensure that food goes in, and will exercise the body, will maybe preach to students, etc., etc., it will continue to perform naturally to an unaware kind of passerby. This person will look like a normal person because that person will be behaving naturally, but actually the person is now completely cut off from the body, and they will be their real activities will be those for the soul when they sit in upasana and they are close to God. And whatever they are doing with the body is just something they are doing for others, or just to keep the body alive. Otherwise, they are per se not getting any enjoyment from the body, which is what we
Okay.
mean by doing it for the body, because actually all that enjoyment is felt only by your body. And that
Okay.
is what we are always working towards. Now the soul will stop doing that.
Okay. Okay. And in verse 9, while the
Mhm.
soul comes to know itself well, it just comes to know an iota of God. The
Mm.
soul is God, right?
Soul is not God.
No, no, this is our, no, it is part of the, it is a, what do you say, a bit of the God?
So this is again Advaitwad, what you are saying, what Gauri was saying just now, where Brahm is divided into two parts. One is called Ishvara, which performs all the functions which keep the universe going, and one which becomes full of ignorance and then sits in this body and performs and goes about an ignorant life. So that is not correct, and we will be seeing it in a few verses down. This is this philosophy, which is the Vedic philosophy, is about Trayatvad, in which three things are given. One is Paramatma, that is the supreme consciousness which creates this universe. By creates, it is that the clay is available for it to now build the universe. It is not that he creates the clay as well. So we have come to the second part, that is the clay, that is matter, the primordial matter, which is also eternal and always exists. Then the third thing is individual souls, which are also conscious but are not fully independent like God, and not in control of many things. They are also very small, while God is omnipotent, omnipresent, whatever. So,
Omniscient. But
omniscient.
so
Correct.
what is the word you used, Uttara? Sorry,
Trayatvad.
Traidwad.
Trayatvad. Yeah,
Okay.
that is from Tray only, from three. That
Okay.
means three things. Three things exist. Advaitvad. Dvait means two
Dvaitvad,
things. That
yeah.
is duality. Advait is non-duality. So
Yeah.
this Advaitvad claims that there are not two things. There is only one thing.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes, that is not correct. And you will keep getting stuck every time if you follow that philosophy, because it is not correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Trayavad is it the same one, Vishishta Advaita there, like that?
No, those are
different.
all Dvait,
Okay,
Advait,
they're different.
this thing.
No,
Various
because you said Paramatma is there, and then our Atma
Jivatma is
is
there, and Prakriti is there. So three things are there. And Prakriti is without any consciousness, any knowledge. It is an inanimate substance.
inert.
Inert, yes. Okay. So this is the Vedic philosophy. That is another philosophy. You can call it whatever philosophy you like. And it is not the philosophy of the Upanishads. It is also not the philosophy of the Gita, as is told. Because like I sent you one meme I had sent you, anything can be misinterpreted. And in today's times, it is very easy to misinterpret and circulate it. Okay, let us look at the 10th shloka now. Please repeat after me. Na tatra suryo bhati.
न तत्र सूर्यो भाति
Na chandra tarakam.
न चन्द्रतारकम्
Nema vityuto bhanti.
नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति
Uto yamagnihi.
कुतो यमग्निः
Tameva bhantam.
तमेव भान्ति
Anubhati sarvam.
अनुभाति सर्वम्
Tasya bhasa sarva.
Tasya bhasa sarvam
idam vibhati.
idam vibhati.
So now this goes into pure eulogy of God, though we have been covering the eulogy of God only in the last few shlokas, but they involved also some instructions or other descriptions like you must meditate upon this kind of God, or all your doubts will be cleared, etc. So those were instructions which were given to you, or knowledge, but these are like pure eulogies of God. So it says that there in God, the sun does not shine, nor does the moon, nor the stars, nor do these um, electric currents shine, or lightning shines, the flashes of lightning, nor does this, what to say of this fire. The luminosity of the fire is far less than any of these. So that his luminescence is what is lighting up everything. Tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. Sorry, tameva bhantam anubhati sarvam. His light only lights up in these things. Anubhati. Behind him, they shine. Tasya bhasa sarvam idam vibhati. His light only is shining in all these things. So his light shines up in these, and the second line says that the light which you see in these things is his only. Okay, so why does the sun not shine in him? After all, he is the one who is omnipresent. It should be shining inside him only. So it is saying that he is so bright. He has got the brightness of thousands of suns, that this sun becomes fika, becomes without light, just like the stars are no longer present when the sun rises in the morning. Similarly, these become powerless to shine in front of him. So when we see him, there is no other light which will be present. It is only God. And it finally then we will understand that it is his light which is lighting up everything around. Okay, so this is one of my favorite verses and is part of my Sandhya. You can also include it in yours if you like. Any questions?
Very nice. Actually, using this very principle, one engineer whom I track on YouTube, he wanted to take a very accurate image of how welding proceeds. And because normal photography fails because it gets overpowered by the power of the arc light, and is unable to actually see the melt process and how the weld is forming, etc. So he came with this same principle. He just lit it so brightly with a flash strobe, matching the aperture of the camera, because you can produce high brightness only in strobe manner, right? And then so with that, now he created videos where the welding, how it proceeds, is seen so brilliantly. You don't see the arc anymore. You actually see the beads forming, etc. It's amazing.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Okay, we'll move on to the next verse. Brahma Vedam Amritam
Brahmaivamritam
Purastad Brahma
Purastad Brahma
Paschat Brahma
Paschat Brahma
Dakshinatash Chotarena
Dakshinataschotarena
Adhaschod Adhaschordhvam Cha
Adhaschordhvam cha
Prasritam Brahma Vedam
Prasrutam Brahmaivedam
Vishwamidam Parishtham.
Vishwamidam Varishtam.
So again, this is a eulogy where the Rishi has become overcome with the vision of God, and he says, Brahma eva idam amritam. God alone is this immortality or immortal thing, or he himself is immortal. Purastat Brahma, he is in front of me. Paschat Brahma, he is behind me. Dakshinatash, he is on the right of me. Uttarena, also he is in the left of me. Adahacha urdhvamcha, he is below me and he is above me. Me is not said here, this I am implying it here, that he is above and he is below. Prasritam, he is spread out. He is everywhere below and he is everywhere above and he is everywhere in all directions. Brahma eva idam vishwam, idam varishtam. He is everything which we see and which we understand, and which is the best of everything. So this is just a eulogy which tells us that God is omnipresent and God is the one whom we should submit to, surrender to. Okay, so this is the end of the Dvitiya Mundak, the second main chapter. Both sections are now complete. So we move on to the Tritiya Mundak, the third Mundak, and the first section, Pratham Khanda. So this is a verse which occurs twice in the Vedas and which has also occurred in Shvetashvatar Upanishad. In Shvetashvatar, in fact, the next verse is also present in exactly the same form. And this gives you the Trayatvad very clearly. You see, in certain places, you can get confused between this Advaitvad and Trayatvad, because it says Brahma alone is everything. You know, like even the last verse, you could say Brahma eva idam vishwam. Brahma alone is this everything. So you must understand that there is a context to everything. And the statement cannot be understood in by itself. It has to be understood in the context in which it is being said. So when you are going overboard in praising something, then you say, maybe to your teacher, you say, oh, you know everything. That does not mean that the teacher knows everything, or that even you believe that the teacher knows everything. It is just that you are so overwhelmed with devotion at that point that you say such a thing. So that is what you must understand, see the context, and accordingly gather what is really meant over there. So, for example, the previous verse is in great devotion. The Rishi has just become overcome with devotion, and he says that everything which is there around me, which is me, is God only. But that does not mean that he is not different from God. And that is described in this verse. Dva Suparnam
Dva Suparna
Sayuja Sakhaya
Sayuja Sakhaya
Samanam Vruksham
Samanam Vriksham
Arisha Swajate
Parishasvajate
Tayoranyaha Pipalam Svadavatya
Tayoranyah Pippalam Swadvatyan
Ashnannanyo Abhichakashiti
Ashnannanyo Abhichakashiti
Dva Suparna Sayuja Sakhaya. So this is again a Rupa Kalankar. There are two birds who have very beautiful feathers, Suparna, Sayuja, which are connected to each other, which are sitting together. Sakhaya, which are friends. This is actually a Vedic usage. So, Dwa, Suparna, Sayuja, Sakhayo has become Dwa, Suparna, Sayuja, Sakhaya. Samanam Vriksham, on the same tree. Parishasva Jate. Parishasva is actually means Alingan, means it is, they are very deeply connected with the tree. They are embracing the tree. Tayoranyaha, Pippalam Swadu Atti. Of these, one enjoys the fruit of the taste of the fruit. Pippalam is fruit and Swadu is tasty. Anashnan Anyaha, without eating the other, Abhichakashiti, watches it. So this is, you can see there are three entities here, two birds and one tree. So tree is the inanimate substance, which, okay, it is, that part is not really matching up with real life because that is also a living thing. But here it is the inanimate, inert substance which produces fruits, enjoyable fruits. The pleasures of life are being generated by this matter. So those pleasures of life are being seen by these two birds because they are intimately connected to this tree by means of the body. So the body, which is actually part of the tree, is also is the one which is intimately connected, the two birds, to the tree. So the one of the birds, as you can guess, is the soul, and the other bird is the Lord. So the soul is the one which eats those foods, which partakes of the pleasures of life, and the other one does nothing of the kind, and it just sits and watches it. Of course, it does not just sit and watch it. It also gives it the consequences of its actions. So whatever actions the Jivatma performs, the other soul is always looking and accordingly giving it the fruits. So the pipalam which the soul will get will be dependent on the actions of that soul. Now this Dwa Suparna, what are these lovely feathers which both birds have? So all the properties actually which you have seen in the previous verses, which were similar between God and the soul, which distinguish it from matter, from inanimate, inert matter, are those properties which are given over here as Suparna. So these are like divine qualities which exist in both God and the soul. The primary and the most basic one of them being consciousness. Without consciousness, there is no understanding of what is there around us. Forget about enjoying it or not liking it. All that follows as a part of consciousness. And God also has a consciousness, but he does not enjoy there are no pleasures or anything in it, but there is Anand always. Sayuja, they are connected. So again, don't read this as a connection which is a very hard connection, which is a physical connection, but this is again a connectionless connection. It is because they are close to each other. That is why it is called Sayuja. Matter is the grossest form. The soul is far more subtle than matter, and God is far more subtle than the soul. So there is no connection between these three entities directly. It is only an indirect connection, but there is a connection. They do sit next to each other in that Hiranyamaya kosha. Hiranyamaya pare kosha. Sakhaya. So this has one friendship which you directly understand as Sakha. which means that God is always your friend and will always prod you into the correct direction. You may not be his friend sometimes, but all said and done, you still, most of the time, 90-95% of the time, you know that you have to, uh, that God is your friend. And therefore, you also behave as a friend to him, though you cannot do much for him, of course. So that is one meaning for this Sakhaya. The other real deeper meaning is Sakha. Yaskar's Nirukta, which is the text on etymology, tells us that Sakha is derived from Samana Khyano Yasya. So the two things which have a common description are called Sakha. Okay, so in this world, we are friends normally with people who have something similar with us. We normally are not friends with somebody who is completely different from us. And that is why this person is our Sakha, because we share some description. Similarly, we are seeing that for God and soul, there is a common description. There are many things which we share with God, but there are many others which we don't. So because of that also, we are called Sakha. Sakhaya. In this verse, it has been called. Okay. Is that clear or any doubt is there?
No, it's clear. It's clear. Nice.
Okay, let us look at this next one. So the previous verse is to be found in Rig Veda and Yajurveda, but this next one is not a Vedic verse. So this is a kind of a descriptive verse which explains the entities which are described in the first one. Samane vrikshe
Samane vrikshe
purusho nimagno
purusho nimagno
Ishayasho
Anishayasho
Jatimuhyamanaha
Jatimuhyamanaha
Jushtam Yada
Jushtam Yada
Pasyatyanyamisha
Pashyatanyamisham
Masya Maimana
Asya Mahimanam
Mitivita Shokaha.
Iti Vita Shokaha.
Now it says Samane Vrikshe Purusho Nimagno. On that commentary of this world, Purushaha. Purushaha, again, do not mistake it for man. It means the soul, the Jivatma. So the soul is immersed. Nimagna is immersed in the joys and pleasures of this world. It is so consumed by this world that it does not find time for any upasana, for any thought of God, of any spiritual development. Anishaya, shochati, muhyamanaha. Muhyamanaha, getting deluded, getting attracted to all the pleasures of this world. It and Anishaya, because it has little control over those over the world, over the pleasures of this world, it grieves. Shochati. So because the soul is attracted to this world and all the pleasures and comforts that it has, and the various colors which present to us in many forms, we keep getting attracted to this and that, and then finally that thing leaves us, and then suddenly we are left in trauma. And that is what this is talking about, that in the final analysis we come to know that nothing belongs to us, but it always comes at such a high price to us because we are always equating ourselves to our body and to this world. Jushtam yada pashyati anyamisham. When it prays and performs upasana for another Isha, for another Lord, then asya mahimanam iti bhita shokaha. Then it realizes that all this is his glory, his greatness, it is his only. And then it becomes devoid of shoka. It goes beyond sorrow. Bhita shokaha. All its sorrow, it gives up. Nothing remains of its sorrow. So when the soul understands that there is this other Lord who is actually in charge of this world, who is controlling how the world goes this way, that way, and actually everything belongs to him only. If you remember, this was the first verse of Ishavasyopanishad. Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena tyaktena bhunjitha kasya swit iti kasya swit dhanam. Kasya swit dhanam, yeah. So whose wealth is it anyway? When you understand that, when you get over the fact that this belongs to me, this is mine, that is mine, this body belongs to me, when you are able to get over that, then you understand that actually there is no pain, there is no sorrow, there is nothing which can be taken away from you, because you are what you are and nothing belongs to you. So how can you take away something from a person who has nothing? So the way to attain is to do service. This jushtam typically means to do seva, but here it basically implies the seva which you do to God is actually to perform upasana. There is nothing which you can give God. See, seva is something where you give something to somebody, you know, like you do service in an ashram where you sweep the floors in the morning. That is a service which you perform for the ashram, for the people of the who reside in the ashram. There is no such thing you can do for God. He doesn't require anything. He doesn't need anything. He is just sitting over there and looking at you. So this Jushta means that when you connect with him, when you disconnect with this body, with this world, and try and separate yourself from all this, and then only you can approach him. That is the primary condition which he places on you, that you have to first remove your attachment to the world. Okay, I think we'll close here. If you have any question, we can still take it up.
Uttaradi, I just wanted to know which commentary are we reading from this book that we see on the screen?
That is the book I had shared on the group itself.
Okay.
But
Because
I am not following that per se. I always follow my own commentary. So you will have to read my commentary, which is also shared in the book description.
Yeah, because it has a lot of. I was just reading while you were reading that the knot of Shiva, the knot of Vishnu, the knot of Brahma,
Yeah,
those things. So those things are.
This is only for reference of for the shlokas.
Okay.
Yeah. Otherwise, you have to read my commentary.
Ji.
Okay. Any other question is there?
No.
Okay. Om Yate Rudra Shivatanur.
Om Yate Rudra Shivatanu
Aghora Papakashini.
Aghora Papakashini
Ayanastanva Shantamaya.
Dayanastan Vashantamaya
Girishanta Bhichakashihi.
ईरिषन्ताभिचाकशीः
Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः धन्यवादः भगिनी
धन्यवाद स्थिराजी.
Thank you, Uttara.
How was your trip, Uttara?
Here also, see, you can see when you are praying to somebody, it has to be another entity. It cannot be yourself to whom you pray. So, like that is the question you should ask when you see the statue of Shiva in great meditation. Whom is he meditating upon? You are supposed to meditate on Shiva, but who is Shiva meditating upon? Why is he meditating? He should be seeing you meditate and giving you blessings for that and appearing in your meditation. So these are the things which you should question and develop that Vivek, unless you question these things, that you will not develop that discrimination. There is a lot of ignorance in the world today, and particularly in India. Too many matas are floating around, and too many people saying too many things. If you are not able to get this knowledge from the Upanishads, this whole course is meaningless.
Yes, Bhagini. No, we are meditating to him. He meditates for us.
He does not miss. This is like Jesus. Jesus Christ died for your sins. So now you can sin at will. He has already died. He died a couple of millennia ago. Now, since then, all the sins are taken care of, all past and future. Similarly, you are saying that Shiva is meditating for us. So you don't need to meditate then. These are not logical things.
No. Please, I was
Shiva
just
never
trying to.
You
Don't take me
have
serious. Don't take me
rationalize-
seriously, please.
Yeah, make a distinction between the rationalization and the truth. The truth is only one, and you must discover that truth. Until that truth is discovered, you will always be just floundering from here to there, and there is no point in all these studies.
We'll slow and steady, we'll get there, Uttara.
I'm sure.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
How was your trip?
Yeah, very good, Gauri. Thank you.
Huh?
Who are you asking?